Namaste. Welcome to Inspiring Women, a TV show where we bring women leaders from all around the globe and share their success stories. Our guest for today's episode of Inspiring Women is a bold, strong, courageous woman, Glidden. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Arya. Such an honor to be here with you. Thank you.
You are the founder of an organization called Woman to Be, a very symbolic, beautiful name for an organization that helps a beautiful transition from girlhood to womanhood. So can you tell us something more about the works that Woman to Be does and the idea behind its inception?
Well, I founded Women to Be in 2014. And what we do, we're all volunteers, by the way, so we fabricate and distribute underwear and washable sanitary pads to girls around the world. We've been 4 times now. This is my 4th visit to Nepal, Zambia, Mexico, Guatemala, and the Native American populations and communities back in the U.S. We also provide a reproductive health class, especially here in Nepal. Talking about sexual intercourse or menstrual cycles is a very sensitive topic. It often doesn't come up. We just put it out there. We teach girls how their bodies work, what to expect in marital intimacy, how to talk to parents about their menstrual cycles. And we also teach boys, which initially we were only teaching the girls, but now we're also taking on boys, because why would we? That's such a discrimination, such a prejudice. So we just teach anybody and everybody who's interested in learning more about how their bodies work. We've got tremendous, exceptional partners here in Nepal who have helped us establish 2 sewing centers, one in Dhulikhel and one in Parbat, where we train women how to sew. We give them jobs and pay them to sew our product, our washable sanitary pads, or we encourage them also to start their own businesses. They can go off on their own as entrepreneurs and become their own bosses.
You're empowering them and you don't believe in spoon feeding, is that right?
Spoon feeding is really disrespectful, it's insulting. The message when spoon feeding is you're a baby. They're not children, they're not babies, they're not helpless. And so why would we do that? So we come across with a great deal of respect, and we also only go to places and help women and girls who want to be helped. We're not there to say, oh, this is what you need, and we're here to tell you how to do it. No, it's just an offering. And if women and girls decide to take us up on it, believe me, we are delighted.
There is a misconception that patriarchy exists only in developing countries. What is your take on this?
I couldn't disagree more. You know, the patriarchy, it's so core to our behaviors, our beliefs, the ways that we've been indoctrinated into our cultures and our families. It's really a basic kind of belief system that's even transparent to us. I don't even think that we really see it many times. I know I participate in the patriarchy all the time. I know I do. I wish I didn't, but oftentimes I do it. I don't even know that I'm doing it. And so the patriarchy is something that's so core and so basic. It exists in all cultures. And I think probably throughout time. I believe that there have been cultures that were more maternally women engineered and designed, but I think they're far and few and in between. And so right now, I don't think there are any or many throughout the world. So no, this is very ingrained in U.S. culture, Western culture. In my opinion, from what I've seen, it's clearly here in Nepal. And so maybe there are degrees of patriarchy and misogyny, but no, it's something that inflicts the entire world. You know, and I always say this about patriarchy, that patriarchy, when you think about it, or misogyny, when you think about it, is only affects women. It's only bad. It only has negative impact for women. That's so not true. It affects everyone. It limits everyone. It restricts everyone. Okay, in their relationships, in their jobs, and just the way that they live out their daily lives. And so, you know, although it probably is true that women are more the victim, if you will, of patriarchy, I can assure you that men are also adversely affected.
You've been in the public service sector for more than 2 decades now. That's a really long time.
It's a really long time. Actually, my professional training is in the treatment of mental health disorders. So I have a kind of a basic interest in people and how people act and what they think and what's important to them. And so I started approximately, I don't know, as you said, over 20 years, almost 25 years ago, in more kind of official positions. They're governmental appointments that are volunteer, so it's just service to my community. I started out with what's called the Board of Nursing, which is the regulatory agency for nurses, where they are either given, or perhaps if they've been involved in some sort of addiction problem or malpractice, we set barriers for them and limitations and restrictions such that they can improve the quality of their lives and, in effect, improve the quality of the service that they provide as nurses. So I did that for some years. Then I moved on. I did the same thing for physicians and physician assistants, nurse practitioners. I've also been on a governmental board for the Arts Commission, which is very important to me. I learned so much about art, and art is, I think, almost an overlooked aspect of life. This doesn't mean that artists aren't appreciating it, but sometimes we don't stop and look and really try to learn from art. So that was a wonderful exposure for me to a field that I hadn't really known that much about. I've been on the boards of museums, zoos, botanical gardens, but so most recently what I'm doing is I'm on the board of trustees for the New Mexico, which is the state that I'm from in the U.S., the New Mexico Art Museum. And as well, I'm what's called an honorary commander with the Kirtland Air Force Base, which is located in the town that I live in. It's responsible for all nuclear material throughout the world for the United States, so it's a very important base. And with my association as an honorary commander, again, an appointment by the base commander, I've just learned so much about military life that had been totally unknown to me. I have such an appreciation for the sacrifice, not only of military service members, but really for the families and what it is that they have to go through and what they need to give up throughout their lives, both as spouses and children, in order to support their service member. 23
years into giving back to the society. So what inspired you to embark on this journey?
My source of inspiration, I guess, is love. I know that sounds kind of simplistic, but it's also very true. I think that just wanting to understand people, be with people, have a relationship with people, interaction with people, activities with people, and feel that sense of shared connection, that is what inspires me. That is what makes me feel alive.
It's the bonds and the little things in life.
Yeah, very much so. Notice I didn't say house or car. It's just, and you know, the little things really are the big things. That's what brings meaning into a life, are those things. I think I'm just inspired by pretty much everyone I've ever met. There's something about every person that I've encountered in my life that's special, that makes them unique, and that I can learn from. Whether it's hard work, overcoming a situation, being successful in a job, or being generous to other people. So I don't have to look far to find inspiration. I guess I'm also inspired, as I mentioned earlier, from art. And probably more importantly is nature.
Inspiration is everywhere and you just have to take it in.
It's totally up to you. It's totally up to the individual. And I think that's true with everything. I mean, how we choose, and it's a choice, how we choose to be, how we choose to act, who we choose to be with, all of this, how we choose to feel, you know, how we choose to think, all of it is a choice. And so I can probably go out in nature and ignore it, or I can choose to be fully involved with it and find its magic and find its charm and find the meaning of all of that and how I fit into it.
Courageous, bold, inspiring, strong woman. Words would be less to describe the full of what you are. So what is it that keeps you motivated? What is it that keeps you going?
What keeps me going? I don't need much, I don't think. I think I wake up in the morning and just say, this is great. Another day of this, of being alive. Wow, what an opportunity. You know, what's up for today? Who's coming into my life today? What can I accomplish today? Who can I meet today? What's out there for me today? I am a morning person and I understand that, but I'm just excited in the morning. I don't need much to get out of bed and feel like I want to conquer something or other.
So it's the enthusiasm and gratefulness for you.
It is. So enthusiasm and gratitude. Yes, you're right. Gratitude just to have this day, to have this life, and to participate in this life, which is such a mystery to me.
We talked about you, we talked about what kind of works you're doing. So now we would like to dive into your early childhood experiences. So can you tell us something about that?
Well, I come from a family of privilege. I'm from the United States. We were middle class, and I don't want to discount that. That was certainly a powerful shaper of who I am as a human being and a person. But I would cite two examples of things that happened to me that really kind of made me who I am. And the first was when I was just 6 years old, or maybe 7. My family and I had the opportunity to travel in Europe from the United States, and we were in Europe for about 3 months. And I, even just as a 6 or 7-year-old, I saw things that, I couldn't believe. It occurred to me at that time that, not everyone lives like I do, right? And that was such a lesson for me at such a young and impressionable age. And I think that has really piqued my interest in learning about people and culture and how people are different and the same, by the way. The other thing that happened for me in my life when I was in my mid-20s, I come from a small family, quite small. And when I was in my mid-20s, both my mom and dad died, and I only had 2 living relatives. One was my 94-year-old grandmother, and one was my brother, my older brother, who was severely mentally disabled. And so you can imagine losing one's parents at that age. It was devastating for me. It was painful. I felt so alone, sort of cast off, not part of anything or a family or a community. I just felt like an island unto myself. And then I had, as much as I loved them, I had 2 people kind of counting on me for their own well-being. So I used the metaphor that I felt like I was drowning until I realized that I was the water, that there's no separation, that I am the thing is me. I am the environment is me. And when I came to realize that I was the water, I could control. It could be my problem that I was drowning in, or it could be the thing that buoyed me. And so I was able to make that transition into being buoyed. But I came away with a great understanding of what it feels like, not only to be alone, but to be resourceless in a way. Like I had no human resource to count on. And so when I think about Women to Be and the girls that we help, even though they are resourceless in a very different way, I still know what that feels like. I still know what it feels like to feel that the fear of aloneness and not being able to talk about it or being misunderstood. And I think that's really helped me find empathy in my heart for others.
As you say, women are the biggest untapped resources of our time.
That's true.
And you've been a live example of a woman's place is truly wherever they want it to be. So what do you want people to take away from your story?
Just simply put, just do good. just do good. Get up in the morning and do good. Do good to your family, your neighbors, your friends, strangers in the street, the birds that fly over our heads, the trees that flower and bloom around us. Just be kind in your life. Imagine if everyone on the planet could be kind and do good. Imagine the life that we would have, right? And the other thing I would say is, I think that we wish in our lifetimes that only good would happen to us. And I understand that, and I've done it, let me tell you. I think when, there are the good things and then the allegedly bad things that happen to us, although both are just simply part of our life. And I don't think that you can just have a dividing line between the good and the bad. The bad, if you will, so we wish for good, we pray for good, we pray for the blessings, and we hope to keep that bad stuff over there and not have it affect us and not come and get us again. And I think as long as you are resisting the bad stuff, you're resisting part of your life. And you can't just resist part of your life. If you're resisting that part of your life, you're resisting the entire life.
True.
Right? And so welcome the bad as you welcome the good, because then you're welcoming your life and you're putting yourself in the flow, the natural divine flow of what life is and how life is going to be. If you resist it, believe me, it just brings trouble. I have a friend in the United States who I have a great deal of respect for, and he's made the observation in his life that when he has a bad thing happen, he learns from it, right? And then he gets to the other side of the problem, and now he's got all this great wisdom and experience and new perspective, because it just enriches himself and his life.
So you just have to welcome whatever comes your way with open arms.
Yeah, and to call it good or bad is just really not helpful. It is what it is. It's your life. If you don't want your life, I guess, then that's your choice too. But if you want to be involved in your life, and I think that's what you're here to do, is accept it all.
It's about choices. It's about how you decide to perceive it.
Exactly.
Thank you for being with us today. It was wonderful having you here.
Arya, I really enjoyed myself and appreciate your time and attention and the time and attention of your listeners.
Namaste.
Namaste.
We will be back next week with a new episode. Until then, hope you have a great week ahead. Namaste.